Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Anne, back with another college advice video. If you're new here, my name is Anne. I'm going to be a college sophomore at the George Washington University next semester in the fall, and this channel is all about living, embodying, and owning our happiness and our success academically, socially, and financially while kicking booties on our college campuses. And so if you have not subscribed, do subscribe to our channel, hit that notification bell so that you can be notified every time we post a new video. And let us get into the video. If you're watching this video, you're probably already living with a college roommate, or you're going to be living with a college roommate at some point in the future, and you're trying to figure out how can you make the experience more positive and basically better and healthier for the both of you or for all of you. So this video, we're going to cover a lot of the things that you should do to create this healthy living environment that you want to create. So the first thing you're going to want to do is to establish some ground rules. And these rules can have anything and everything to do with your shared space. And this can have to do with bedtimes, inviting friends over, or even cleaning habits. Because a lot of times you're not going to know what this person's habits are going to be, or the person's not going to know what your habits are. So it's important to sit down and establish some basic ground rules about, okay, here's what time I expect that I will be going to bed on the weekdays. Here's what time that I expect to be getting up in the morning, and vice versa. In this situation, knowing a person's cleaning habits are going to be specifically important, because if you're very particular about having a certain thing or a certain space cleaned a certain way, and say you do have a cleaning schedule for who cleans when, but the person that, or your roommate that's supposed to clean, does not clean in the particular way that you want your things to be cleaned, or you want your space to be cleaned, then that's probably going to be a problem, because you might find yourself cleaning on the weeks that you're supposed to be off or something like that. So it's important to sit down and figure out, so not only are we going to have a cleaning schedule as to who cleans when, but we're also going to establish cleaning habits as to how are we going to clean this specifically so that your space can remain nice and tidy the way that you want it to be. My next piece of advice for you is to not share food with your college roommates. And here's why. So many people have so many different expectations and nuances when it comes to food. What is too much food for me may not be too much food for you. And so it's so complicated to basically agree on, here's what's too much, here's what's too little, and here's what's just right, just enough. So instead of going through all of these complications and worrying about all of these things, the simple thing is, don't share food, and basically just agree on what is appropriate to share and what is not appropriate to share. Along those same lines, my next piece of advice for y'all is to not borrow each other's stuff. Don't borrow clothes, don't borrow shoes, just leave it at that. Don't borrow each other's stuff. So living with a college roommate will mean that you will have to learn to respect the other person's space. Now, just because you're living in the same room and sharing the same space doesn't mean that everything in that space is not off limits. Not everything in that space is shared. And so you're going to have to learn where your boundaries are when it comes to what you have access to. Like, this is basic common sense. You can't be jumping on the other person's bed just because their bed is inside the room that you share with them. Now, this is something that I feel that not enough people do when they're in college, because we all just have this idea of, I feel like there's just this two different ideas. It's either I'm going to go to college, my roommate's going to be my best friend, or I'm going to go to college and my roommate's just going to be this person that I share space with, and that's it. And I think there can be a very healthy balance. Like, it's perfectly okay for your roommate to be your best friend. Like, that happens sometimes, but more often than not, it doesn't. So what I think is more productive to do is sharing a space with somebody. To make it a good experience, you need to know who you're living with. So my advice is spend time with the person, get to know them, invite them out for brunch, invite them out for dinner once in a while, hang out with each other. You don't have to be best friends, and you don't have to go to parties together. You don't have to have them around your other college friends, but do get to know the person, because you're going to be spending so much time with this person. You might as well know, and not just, not just the things that get on their nerves when it comes to living together, not just about their cleaning habits, not just about get to know the person, who they are, what they like to do, what are their hobbies, things like that, because why not? You're living with the person, you might as well get to know them, because otherwise it's just going to be awkward. It's just going to be an awkward living situation, and you're not going to want to be in it. So my next piece of advice is for you to basically keep an open mind. I mean, we have to think about the fact that in college, we're going to be meeting people that are from hundreds of different backgrounds and that have different beliefs and different thought processes. And so living with a roommate doesn't mean we're going to meet a person who's going to think exactly what we think and who's going to believe in the things that we believe in. And so it's important to keep an open mind, because when you start learning about that person, then you start to realize that maybe your beliefs are completely different from each other. But just because your beliefs are different doesn't mean that you can't get along. And that is why it's important to keep an open mind. Now, this one can be super, super important, especially if you spend a lot of time together, or you go out to eat together, or you tend to buy things for the shared space. What's going to be important to do is to track all of your expenses, keep your receipts, take a screenshot of your receipts, whatever you have to do, so that when it comes to splitting the bill, you can do it in a fair manner. And it comes in handy. Nowadays we have Cash App, we have Venmo, so it's so easy. If you go out with your roommate and he or she doesn't have her debit or credit cards, then all she really has to do is to Venmo you the other half of whatever it is that you paid, and that's it. So track all of your expenses. Don't get into money arguments, because why not? I mean, not why not, but why? Track your expenses, really. My next piece of advice for y'all is to basically learn your roommate's schedule. If you're anything like me, you probably value your alone time more than a lot of things in this world. So it's probably going to be important for you to know when your roommate's going to be around and when she's not going to be around, because, that's when you can finally use that loudspeaker and walk around with no clothes on, because, that's important. We got to have our alone time. Another thing that you have to learn when it comes to living with a roommate is that sometimes you're going to have to take the high road, which means sometimes you're going to have to be the bigger person. And that means sometimes you're going to have to say, I'm sorry, especially if you did something wrong or you said something wrong, whether you were, in a bad mood, you weren't feeling good, you were half asleep, whatever it is. If you said something wrong, or if you did something wrong, or if something happened, just apologize. Say, I'm sorry. It's not that big of a deal. Let it go, My next piece of advice for you is to basically exchange family contact information with your roommate. Because, think about it. While you're away in college, if something were to happen to you, your roommate would probably be one of the first few people to find out about it. And after your roommate finds out, then you'll probably want your roommate to have the contact information of the people that she could reach out to let them know, hey, something's happened to you, or whatever has happened. So exchange family contact information. It might come in handy. Hopefully it never does, but you never know. And the last thing on our list is basically just be transparent. Tell your roommate what you need, what you want for this living experience to be successful, and expect the same thing from your roommate. Ask them, what do they need from you? What do they want for this living experience to be positive, to be successful, and to be healthy? Because, your roommate's not a mind reader. You're not a mind reader. You're not going to know what it is that they need or want. And so instead of you waiting around and just hoping that they figure out, oh, you don't like this, and just, slowly building resentment against the person, just let them know, hey, this isn't working for me, or here are a few things that I learned in the past from living with other roommates that I know I don't want, or I know I don't agree with. Just be open and be transparent about these things at the very beginning. Don't wait for them to start happening and for things to start stacking up on top of each other for you to feel like, oh, this isn't working. Just be honest at the very beginning. Have a conversation, discuss your ground rules, figure out what it is that you need from that person to have a good, positive experience while living with that person. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope that you learned something from it, and I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, drop a comment down below, subscribe to our channel. That really helps to support this channel and for us to grow. So don't forget to do that. Share this video with somebody who you know who might like it, and I will see you guys in the next one.